Oh,
It's popping up on YouTube. Yay! All right, we are live.
yay.
And for whatever reason, I'm not seeing myself. Here I am. All right, so I'm not gonna look at YouTube. Yay! All right, we are live.
Yay.
And for whatever reason, I'm not seeing myself. Here I am. All right,
Oh,
everyone, thank you for joining.
yay.
All right, we are live.
Yay.
We have to for whatever reason, I'm not seeing myself. Here I am. All right, everyone, thank you for joining. And so we are live. And can you hear this? For whatever you can hear it? Here
Oh,
I
yeah.
am.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone, thank you for joining. And so we are live. And can you hear this? For whatever you can hear it? Figure out how to
Oh,
mute
yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah. It stopped.
It does sound like it stopped.
Yes. It has stopped.
All right, I hope so. All right, so for those who have tuned in, I apologize for all of this. I apologize for the noise that just took place. And I'm so happy to have you here. Today, we're going to talk about connection. We have with us Lee and Sherry as guests. I'm so excited for that as well. And so, my name is 𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐼𝐻. And I'll start with introducing myself in case you're new to my channel. I've been assisting twin flames heal connection within and also with their divine counterpart. And I have to say, this was a last minute asking of Lee and Sherry to join last night during my Be One With You group membership. The question was asked, like, what is it about this connection? Why is it that someone you feel connected with can't seem to come forward? And I said, that's it. I got to reach out to Lee and Sherry. Let's just do this. All right. And so met Lee and Sherry through a friend of mine at the time. And she recommended that I book a call. So I did. And I booked a 30-minute call, which I put a link down below. The first 30 minutes is free. And that call changed my life and just that time alone. Okay.
Oh.
Completely changed my life. So I was like, all right, I've got to work with, at the time it was with Lee. And I think other things were going on with you, Sherry, at the time. And so I decided to purchase coaching. And after that first session, let me tell you, I was not connected with myself as
Oh.
much as I thought I was. And I was coaching twin flames, but at the time, I didn't realize the things that I was coaching was for me too. And I had a client who helps to heal healers. And so she started to talk about me. She was like, I noticed some things in you. And I felt something panic inside of me, like, you can see me. So then I was like, okay, what is that thing? And I have to say, I booked the session because I was in a 10-year relationship with someone who has narcissistic tendencies. Let's put it that way. I'm not a doctor, and but you get the picture. I can't diagnose. And so I wanted to know what drew that connection to my life. So it was more than about the twin flame. It was really about, I want to experience connection that's real, connection that's alive. And I did not want any of that in my life again. And so here they are. So the sessions really helped. So I had to disconnect with myself after the first session. I spent almost a week crying. And I'll never forget, during that session, Lee was like, do you even cry? And this is what I say with many of you out here, and I apologize if I'm not seeing comments at this moment. I wait, let me see. The comments might be slow in coming. So if you relate, go ahead, put it down below where you're like, me, I cry. No, I don't cry. But you're running to the bathroom to cry. You're crying in your car. You're crying when no one's looking at you. You're wiping your tears. Maybe you're even crying in the same room. That's me. I've done that. As someone, but they don't even know that you're crying. And then you tell yourself you're not crying. Yeah, you cry. And so I remember that time, it just all came out. And it changed my life. It changed my practice. It changed my family, changed the people that I work with, the direction of my business. I owe it so much thank you to you, Lee and Sherry, for your work. And so go right ahead, introduce yourselves to the audience. And I love hearing how you got connected with each other. And on this channel, we talk about what's real, okay? What feels real.
Right.
Because everyone's reality is different. What you're experiencing is your experience. But we don't sugarcoat this journey and layer a whole bunch of fluff on it. Okay.
Thank you.
Like what's real.
We
What's real.
love your channel. Honor your channel.
That's awesome.
That's
Thank you. Thank you. So go right ahead.
We are Lee and Sherry Patterson. We have a little business here on the internet called Relationship Reinvented. And that actually is coming around almost full circle. Like it's almost back to where we our roots, right? It's amazing. Lee here is an awesome connectionist, and he can connect things down like you wouldn't believe. I have my little gifts as well, right? I'm a little gifts, right? We are twin flames in union, and we've been in union a very long time.
11 years.
11 years.
Well, 13, but 11 for the marriage.
However, we met, how long ago was that?
20, no, that was 2005. That's 20 years ago.
20 years ago we met, and it took us until 2013 to get over the really big mountains that get in your way, and we fought through every one of them, almost like this, right? Moving them out of the way.
Yeah.
Get out. And here we are. We've been through literally almost everything you can think of. If you come to us with any kind of scenario, we're like, oh yeah, okay. Yeah, we've done that, or we've been through that. We've been through all of the jumbo, running, chasing, all that mess, right?
Married to somebody else.
Yeah.
Being with somebody. Yeah, we've done it all.
Done it all.
Yeah.
We've done it all. And the journey has been miraculous, amazing, hard, and
painfully beautiful.
Painfully, yeah. I was getting ready to throw a bittersweet in there. Bittersweet.
All right. I'd like to hear a little bit about that. You mentioned beautiful and painful at the same time.
Absolutely.
It's very much like having a baby.
It's exactly like that, actually. That is probably
so much pain that comes from within, right? And now I have this beautiful connection through all of that pain, and I get to love and nurture and be with that what came out of that pain.
Great. And can you talk about that pain some more? Because so much information online says it's a beautiful journey. It's wonderful. And so it had a lot of people chasing beautiful, wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah.
And leaning a whole lot on that.
Yeah.
And I might have even lost some viewers when I mentioned there's pain in there. And they're like, what are you talking about? Everyone else says it's beautiful. What are you saying?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, no.
If we're keeping it real, and we are,
yes.
There is definitely pain involved. There is, I don't know how many times we went into separation. If we started counting, we'd be here the whole thing. We did. We've been in separation. We both started seeing other people. In the beginning, I couldn't wait for him to get himself together. I married somebody else and had a baby. I wasn't waiting for him. We'd already connected, right? But he had a lot of work to do, as did I. Just exactly what you said. I thought that I was ready for my big love, is what I analogized it at when I was a child. I had that in me. there's somebody out there that is my big love. It's my big love. It's the one that we are one. It's the one that I can tell everything to, that I won't be dishonest with. He won't be dishonest with me. There's no cheating. There's just a connection and so much love. And, going through relationships in my life and marriages, even, I knew that it wasn't my big love. I knew that. But when I met him, I did. So I thought, oh, rainbows and so much fun. And we've met and now we're together and it's great. And bam, so much pain and hurt, because nobody in the whole world can hurt me as much as he can, because he knows me, all of me, and we are connected in such a spiritual, amazing way. He has what my head tells me. Let me clarify that. What my head tells me is he has the bomb to blow it up. And what his head tells him is I have the bomb to blow it up. Right?
The thinking problem.
It's a thinking problem.
I totally understand that. What I've noticed with this connection, and perhaps with any connection, is the person you feel deeply connected with, you bring out more from each other than with any other connection. It's like, and you can elaborate on that.
Well, I'll say this. I'll say this. You were born, there was pain. When this connection finds you, you were born and there's pain. You're not paying attention to it that way because you've had pain that you've disconnected from in your life and ignore. And that's the part of the connection that we know how to heal. But I mean, for some reason, we got thrown into it in such a way where we went and thought we were going in an expedition to help people come together, only to realize we were learning why they're not together more than anybody else ever would. Because we're so deep and deeply connected, we realized that the pain is birth energy. It's supposed to be connection energy. You're attached to a cord when that pain was at its greatest point and you're experiencing it again. And this time you're thinking, well, all of the connections I've had before failed. Look at this one is going to do the same. And you don't see yourself repeating exactly what disconnected you from your parents. You just don't see it. Not until it's too late. And by that point, you have never done anything to heal it. So they're giving you what you've been giving you. And that's the painful part of this connection. They're going to treat you the way you treat your pain. That is the simplest way to put it. And until you realize that, you'll go looking for the beautiful and the wonderful, but if you didn't have that in your life growing up, all you're going to have is just the ability to dream it. You're not going to have the ability to go have it unless you're ready to go through the pain so you can grow into it, which is what we did. It was very painful in the beginning, right? Those first 5 years, woohoo! Yeah, I was a little firecracker. I was married to somebody for 16 years, living with another person for 9 years, and seeing women all over the place. Because in my mind, 6-year-old me watched a mother sleep with a pastor of a church and a father raise another child living with another woman. That child didn't grow at all. He was, by the time he came around, it was a collision with this woman in 2005, and I felt connection, but I still had my mother here. So there's certain variables that break off in connection that we're all not paying attention to. You have to ask yourself, what do you trust about letting somebody be connected to you? And you'll find that your value of trust is broken there because you either say something like, I'm not good enough, nobody really loves me, I've always been on my own. And you have this story of who you are, and you're trying to live that out in this connection, and it makes your life miserable.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit? The story of who you are.
Yeah.
What is that?
Well, like when we first met, you always do that little background thing. Well, what kinds of things have you been through? Have you been married? You have kids? Those things. You start learning those things. But the things you're not asking are, how did you let your mom connect to you? How did you let your dad connect to you? Are they around? Do you talk to them? And it's really interesting because even when you do start to learn about it, you don't realize how it's going to affect the connection. because it does vastly affect the connection in a very deep way. If you didn't have a connection to your father, let's say, and you have a twin and he's at a distance and you don't know how to get close to him, the connection between you and your father is what's causing that. And you don't see it because it's layered on top of something new, but the pain is the same. The pain is the exact same. And you didn't do anything with that pain. And they're not going to be able to do anything with that pain, but they're going to treat you the way you've treated that pain. And that's the aha moment if you really, really, really want connection. We make it a point. Relationship Reinvented was created for connection. Because people in a world full of relationships, how are you going to get people's attention about human being to human being connection? So we started really learning about what happens to you as a child between the mom and the dad. And we automatically kept seeing forced out of the equation was a man's feelings, a man's presence, a man's vulnerability. We didn't meet not one person who said that their father could be vulnerable. Not one. So your ability to believe in connection is hindered to that belief.
For sure. I also feel like when we meet the one that we're connected to, there's a lot of expectation.
Oh,
I know that I did it. I did it. A lot of expectation. When they don't meet those expectations, then your head gets involved. Maybe he's not like, maybe he's not, maybe he's not. And then, now we got people out there on their fourth and fifth twin flame, right? It gets to a point where you can't handle the mess. You can't handle the back and forth, the intensity of the connection. It's very intense. And you can either use that intensity in a negative way, and really that will make you turn and walk away easily.
It does. How many times?
A lot.
Yeah.
Or you can.
How did you reach that point when you started to go into the pain instead and turn things around, whatever it is that you felt needed to change? What happened?
There was a time when there's a lot of times when the hamster wheel gets involved and you feel like you're just running on this wheel and you're not going anywhere. You're just running on a wheel. You're talking about the same things. You're yelling about the same things. You're arguing about the same things that you did a month ago, 2 months ago, 6 months ago. You're bringing up 1992 and 1975 and all these things, right? When honestly, what needs healing is what you've went through without them. What you've went through. He paid the price in the beginning for everybody that ever hurt me. He paid the price for it. Because this connection brings up the pain. It brings up the tragic. It brings up the trauma.
The broken trust.
It brings up all of it to the surface. And they're the only ones there to blame half the time. And Lee and I are together 24/7. It's very, very, very rare that we go out. I mean, he may go get gas or stop at the pharmacy or whatever. But we're together so much. A relationship couldn't handle it. A relationship couldn't handle it.
But a connection will flourish with.
But a connection will just blossom in it.
Beautifully put.
How did it become about the connection rather than a relationship? And can you please explain that one too? Because when I tell people, when we put relationship rules in this connection, we make it about a relationship. That's where when the pain becomes amplified, and a lot of people don't understand that. So can you elaborate on this?
I can make it kind of simple, actually.
Yeah. You can make it simple.
I believe I can.
Well, listen to this.
So you're
not a simple guy.
When you're born, you know that this woman and this man are your connection. You just know it. You cry, you need hunger. As you get about 5 or 6 years old, you start realizing you're the son. That's mommy, that's daddy. Now, once you've equated that to mind, you now have started to kind of move away from what connection is and start to look at relationships. You play a role in a relationship. So let's say my dad left, my mom is still there. I now have, as a son, I have a mother and an absent father. So what I learn about being a man comes from the woman. So you find men who will disconnect from their feelings because the father got absent. But even if the father's there, you still find it. So we started like, where did that come from? But if you look at history, we've said that men don't have feelings. Well, men used to be the guardians of feelings. We used to protect feelings of both men and women. We've just lost our way. And when I started to go into my pain and when I lost her in this connection, I was thrown into the mix of everything that taught me my lies. Because you get taught how to lie to yourself. You don't realize it until you sit around and go to school and somebody starts to feed you stuff to your brain, but they don't really tell you about your feelings. After a while, your feelings don't even seem to have a point anywhere. And that's either at school or at home. So then we start to isolate ourselves and we choose relationships instead of telling people what we really feel. Connection is about what you really feel. Relationships are about what you think. It is as simple as that. If you have an identity of who you play in your story from your childhood and you're still living that story, you're going to jump from relationship to relationship to relationship. If you feel a connection, you'll turn it into a relationship the way your parents turned it into you. You just don't see it.
The point of realizing that we were connected and this couldn't be lived out as a relationship. That point for me was there were so many separations, and the separations were different from breakups. So, I had been in a 13-year marriage before, with 3 kids, and that was hard enough to get out of, right? And breakups are hard and they hurt and you miss the person and all these things. When you're connected, it's like a cord, and you just want to pull them back. And the thoughts aren't, oh, I miss him. The thoughts are, half of you isn't here. Like half of me is someplace else. And I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying to anybody out there that you have to be with the one you're connected to, because there are lots of circumstances where you shouldn't be. However, you can never break the connection, whatever the other person's doing, right? You just have to find a space where you're connected in a spiritual way and you're not physically together. That's very possible. But Lee and I would, even an hour and a half was a lot to be separate. Then there were times when I was like, I gotta get away from this. I've gotta walk away from this. It's bad for me. And I did. And it felt okay the first day or so, like, okay, I did the right thing. And then it just came right back. And all the things are real. All the things are real. I driving down the street, Lee, 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 and then even our last name on the street, and Lee Cleaners and Lee Nails and right. And and that didn't happen as much when we were together. But God, when we were separated, Lee, every freaking thing, Lee's famous recipe, fried freaking chicken, all the ish, and those things to me, I'm a very spiritual person. Those things to me they were signs. It was the universe telling me, right? This is something, and you're scared and you have fear, and it's valid. Your fears are valid, right?
Yes.
But there's a unhuman way.
Okay.
There's an unhuman way to navigate things in this connection. If you're not speaking to one another, Lee can hear me, he can hear me, he can hear me telepathically. I have no doubt he can hear me. There's so many different ways to communicate. There was just that pull, and the universe saying, Lee, 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 right? And my soul, and it wasn't even my heart, because I know, my heart has compassion, right? I didn't have any compassion for him. He was a jerk. So, but there was something that my soul was telling me, hey, wake up, wake up. This is it. This is you, the big love that you've talked to me about your whole life, right? My younger self, my teenage self, Sherry, here he is. This universe, really? After everything I've been through, this is this? I have to train another
Who
one?
can relate? Please, anybody comment down below. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
So
but
many people tell me, okay, go
there
ahead.
was a time when I was just like, oh, this, oh, okay, I get it. Thank you.
So many people tell me I'm imagining things.
Mm,
All this stuff is happening. Is it even real?
yeah,
And then I tell them, do you really believe you created all of that? The signs and messages, seeing their names everywhere. Why do you feel like that's real? Okay. And one of the things that I teach others is to go into what the pain is telling them.
mm,
Because when you have information online that says this is your person, everything's lovely, lovely and beautiful, perhaps there's a part inside that says, okay, I'm meant to experience this connection, but I don't really want it.
right.
And this was one of the things that I had to go through myself and say, okay, why don't I want it? And I discovered those unprocessed pain that was still there,
Mhm.
that was keeping the connection apart.
Yeah.
Okay. And that was the moment of facing it. That I had to face it and well, go into it, really go into it. And I teach people that too, when they say, I know I'm meant to have it, but I'm not sure I even really want it
Right.
or
Right.
want this person, or perhaps they're clinging, they're going the other way. I have to hold on to it because I'm afraid of something, right?
Yeah.
And I see the way you look at me. Please do
I'm
comment.
listening.
But before you continue, I want to say this before some people start popping off.
Okay.
I'm acknowledging the people that did hop in. Hi, Vibe Freak. He's a free, that's his name there. Regular here. Thank you for coming. And he said, I never got to meet Sherry and Lee. I'm not living in Ohio anymore, but it's all good. We can still interact here.
Sure.
And Miss Way, thank you, and Desiree, Liz, and Beyond the Surface.
Right.
And also, Lee and Sherry are currently a part of a favorite couple contest right now. Okay.
America's favorite couple.
With Jeff Goldblum and Emily Goldblum
And with Jeff
are
and Emily
Yes,
Goldblum, Variety
yes.
Magazine.
to help
What I
raise
am
money
hearing
for homeless.
intuitively, though, before that, I did put a link down below. You got
Okay.
to try the 30-minute session. Please do yourself a favor, guys. And
Oh,
get on that session and learn about yourself in a way that you haven't seen yourself. Okay. And begin to understand what the connection is doing, is showing you. Okay. So the link is down below. There's also a link to work with me as well. We're uncovering a lot of this stuff. I want to say this is the root of my teaching. Some people ask me, where did you learn your teaching from and stuff like that? A lot of it is intuitive. I was guided into this work. Spirits showed me a lot of things, but through working with Lee at the time, I discovered connection with myself and with others, and it's what I teach. Okay, and so there's also the link for my calendar down below. So can you tell us a little bit about this contest, and then we'll get back into the topic.
So we actually, it's the funniest thing because we both, I think, I wanted to surprise her and she wanted to surprise me. And I nominated us and she nominated.
Yeah, I did that.
And I was like, then we had to take that
Like,
down.
we
We
got
had took
Oh, love it.
and
two. We can't have two.
once we took mine down, I think we stayed number one.
We stayed number one in our group, and then
And it started like 30 people and
Yeah,
dropped
they
down
just
to like 5. And then we
yeah,
won last week and now
yeah,
this.
semifinals. And now we're back down to like 7th place. So we need you guys to go vote. There's double votes today, and they're free.
Yes, you can
They're
vote,
free. You vote for free.
or you can throw money on it.
Yeah.
And the money does go towards great causes.
Food or something.
Food
And then
for the homeless.
yeah, and then orcas, I think. I don't know, some wildlife. Variety Magazine, Jeff and Emily Goldblum are doing this. The prize is $20,000, which would be amazing for our mission.
And
a story in Variety Magazine.
In which case we would like to bring human being connection mainstream.
That's right.
Because we know that everybody is really saturated with relationships, and relationships are horrible. Connection is different.
Yeah.
It is so different because we don't have to hide. We don't have to keep our roles in place. We can switch. We can be anything for each other. And what we've been through really proved that. I mean, I switched and became a caregiver. Meanwhile, she went through a liver transplant. I mean, she was in hospice.
I see that high five frequency.
You know, it's just there was my back, and then me crashing because she wasn't next to me after I had my surgery. I mean, there's just so many points of time where our connection has been the greatest, most incredible, amazing, vulnerably sweet thing. And it doesn't make sense. We look out and look at all these human beings and go, they don't even know that they could have this, because it's not mainstream. People don't say, I can feel my wife choking and she's, down the street, and be able to know to go to her. We didn't have cell phones and stuff back 2,000 years ago when human beings first got here, but they were connected. So that was a normal way of life. We were taught to think. We weren't taught to be connected.
We were taught to nurture our relationships.
Absolutely.
And
sacrificing yourself.
Givers.
Right.
Yeah. And it do for others. And the whole drill, moms, kids, routines, that whole thing. Lee and I nurture our connection. The relationship we have, the marriage we have, is just a byproduct of the connection, right? It's consolation prize for, that we get to be in physical union as well. It's the
step into oneness.
Yeah.
And is really what people don't even comprehend they can get to.
What people don't understand as well is something that Lee and I we discovered. The twin flame dynamic isn't, when they say twin flame, that when you meet the person that you're connected to, that is simply a spark. It's not the end. It's not the prize. It's not the, oh, I found it. It's a spark. It's just a spark. And it's up to you whether that spark's going to be volatile, right? Or beautiful.
Relationship,
connection.
See the difference?
Right. And how does that, how can it go either way? Be volatile or beautiful?
If you're prone to not be connected to yourself,
if you listen to your head,
it's going to be volatile. It's going to be painful. It's going to be treacherous. You're going to come up with karmics. You're going to research a lot of stuff that keeps you in your head, where the connection is waiting for you to be in your feelings. But you don't know how to get to your feelings because you've ignored them for too long. When this connection finds you, all of it comes up, and then you're like, and you feel vulnerable. It's not called bubble love. It's called vulnerability. And that's actually where we live now. So it's like we've been living in vulnerability and living in this space where if you're vulnerable with each other, it's a power. It's not a weakness. It's not, you don't need the defense system. We live with a fox. Like a fox is like cuddled up in between us and is a part of the connection. And we drove 20, 20,
Yeah, 13 and a
26
half hours, both ways. Yeah,
twice, right? 26 hours.
a lot.
And a fox in the vehicle with us for 26 hours. And the fox was still loving by the time we got out. So we know we have the connection.
It's so interesting when we have like little retreats. We have little retreats here, just people who want to come into our energy, and it could be one day, it could be 3 days or whatever. And we just interact and talk, and they don't want to leave. Like the energy's so we're just so in the flow. And life things are here. Don't get it wrong. It's not that we don't have life things. I mean, we're having, there's major issues.
But your pain has peace here.
Yes. Yes.
And that's what the connection is about.
Yeah.
It's about letting you understand that your pain can give you peace.
And do we nurture those things? Do we put our energy into those issues, those problems that we have? And they could be anything, children, finances, so many things. We don't put our energy into them, right? We put our energy into our connection. That's what's going to help fix everything.
And we didn't do it in a way where we got excruciating rich and did all of these big things. Yeah. We did it because we wanted to experience a completely different life where we have connection, where we don't have to question it. If you don't know how to think that way, you are at the furthest point of this connection. The opening door is that pain. Mm-hmm. The pain you've stuffed down, the pain you've ignored, the pain you didn't know what to do with. We know what to do with it. Mm-hmm. We don't want you to get rid of it. We want to show you how it can make you into this beautiful being who can have human being connection.
All right. Thank you for saying that, because I was going to ask, how does someone break down that wall so they can experience the connection they're feeling inside? Because so many people, they feel it, but they're terrified. Or they're running or holding tightly. Either way, they're terrified.
Yeah. I have a very, very tragic past. So I've built a lot of walls, right? I have, there's a fortress that I got in Legos. Sometimes I tear them down, and then, then I throw the Legos back, and the Legos keep building, right?
And I step on the broken piece.
And but
barefoot.
I have a very abusive past. I was sexually abused as a child and as a young adult, and then I got into a very physically abusive marriage. There's so much mess, right? Buried a son. There's a lot of things. And yeah, lots of trust walls. Lots of trust walls. Trust is sacred to me. It's intimate to me. A lot of times we need trust. We need to have that to be able even to be sexual or loving, right? We need trust. And I've built lots of walls when it comes to a lot of things. Fear is the biggest one. I don't want to get hurt. I've been hurt a whole lot, right? And my mind will tell me all day that this is the one that can do it. This is the one that could just tear it all down, right? Now, my soul does not say that. My soul says, this is the one that can nurture this. This is the one that takes the pain from you. This is the one that carries it for you, right? It's a battle. It's a constant battle, and it's a daily battle. What am I listening to? What wolf am I feeding? We've all heard that analogy. What wolf am I feeding? Right? Am I feeding my mind? Am I listening to my mind? Am I staying in my mind today? Right? And if that's the case, I kind of need to let him know. So I'm gonna be in my mind all day. Right? That's right. Or I'm gonna be in my feelings all day. Just before we came, it was the oddest thing you were talking about crying, because just before we got on, I was like, oh yeah, we're going to be on camera. I should probably comb my hair and fix my face, because I had been crying. But then I was on my way upstairs and thought, I haven't been crying today. It's a thing where it's the vulnerability is there's crying every day, and it could be happy crying. It could be, oh, I spilled something crying. It could be, why is it so hot outside? It could be anything, right? It could be my feelings are hurt, or I saw a video of a sad puppy, or Sarah McLachlan come on, anything, right? And it seems like every day. So I'm like, oh, I got to fix probably got to fix my eyeliner because I've been crying. And I realized when I was going, I hadn't cried today.
But
right?
But the thing, you could ask her to
Yeah.
really show the difference in all of this, and you can try this anywhere. You just ask her, hey, last week when you were, did you cry? And if she says, they say yes, you say, who held you?
Yeah.
And if they say no one, you know they're disconnected and they're never going to be connected. Because if you learn to do that, you're going the opposite direction of this connection.
Yeah.
So like, she sees me crying, I come over and she holds me.
And I'm still real bad for going, why are you crying? What's going on? What happened? What happened?
And
you know what I mean?
What helps is my mother would do that when I was little. She would ask me where it was hurting. So when she wants to know, if I just say my heart hurts, and she say, why? Is everything okay? And she'd like, she'll let me lay my head on her heart. And once I feel her heart, the pain stops. And it doesn't really stop as much as it explodes. Because it's a beautiful feeling when you know how to heal.
You're welcome, Liz.
You're welcome.
And thank you for talking about the crying.
Okay. All
we
right.
both
Awesome.
cry, but we don't hide it from each other.
Yeah.
The
That's
vulnerability,
the vulnerable part.
The vulnerability requires that.
It does.
Connection requires vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to heal your vulnerability to be a twin flame. You just don't see it that way yet, but you should. And it should be so crystal clear. And the people who can show you how to be vulnerable are sitting right here. Because
there you go. All right. So two things. A lot of people on this journey say, I can't open up about my feelings to my twin.
Oh.
I have these feelings going on. I hate that they're in and out. And I would ask, did you say anything? No. And one thing that I learned from you, Lee, and you can correct me on this, that's fine, is if you don't open up about that, in a way, you're creating their reaction. It's like you're owning their reaction. I'm going to stay quiet because perhaps they're going to not understand, react a certain way. I'm going to get criticized, judged. They're going to turn their back. You're creating their emotions, reactions, or however it was that you worded. So there's that. And how does someone trust you when you're not opening up about your feelings? You want trust, but you're not going to open up. And then, so that's two. Okay. Hopefully you remember this. Where to get this in. And the other one is, what about if their twin isn't being vulnerable? So it's those three. I can't open up.
So
go ahead.
The easiest way to answer this with the first one is if you don't share your feelings with someone you feel a connection to, you're rejecting them. They're not going to give you the time of day as long as you know you're not even looking at that because you're too busy stuffing your feelings down. And if they can feel that, they feel rejected by you. And you're not giving any crap about that. And as long as you continue that, you get to be right about everything else you say there on out. Every other question thereafter, that's how it's going to line up.
They won't open up to me.
Nope.
They won't open up to me. So that they're probably not it. They won't open up to me. It's funny because when I met Lee, like even the very first time we met, I just wanted to vomit all of everything. and on June the 12th, 1970, I was born. And then in July, I was probably, you know what I mean? Everything. I needed him to know everything. And that was odd for me because I wasn't talking about my pain or my childhood or my family, all that, right? We talk when we meet people, we talk about all the good things, and I do this and I do that and I do this. We never ever bring up, well, I've had a really crappy childhood and right? Because we don't want that person to think of us as tainted, as jaded, as hurt, or as wounded, right? Oh, I'm gonna have to fix them. I don't want to have to, you know what I mean? I need to fix them. Now we're relationshipy. Now we're teetering on the relationship line. Yeah. And someone that you're spiritually connected to, there should never be a time when you can't overcome that fear to talk to them. Mm-hmm. And I've had fear to talk to Lee about things. I've had that. And it's like, what? Why? He's connected to me. He probably already knows something's up in here, right? I need to address it. When there's something going on with Lee, I know it. I know it. I know it in my bones. And I can ask him 1,000 times, you okay? Yeah, I'm all right.
So I know that.
And then, 20 minutes later, you okay?
Is he rejecting my feelings?
Right.
Stop. Don't stop me while I'm doing that. I need to keep stuffing them down. And
Right.
it's like, and then it's funny until I'm like, wait a minute. I can see that she's seeing that I'm rejecting what I'm feeling.
And I'm feeling rejected because why isn't he talking to me?
That's what happens on this end.
Yeah.
On this end, then I went, wait a minute. I'm stuffing this down. I'm not sharing this because I'm trying to learn to speak through it. I mean, I finally learned a way to communicate from that space. And what I realized was there's so much that goes on up in here that says your feelings are less than when you're a human being having a human being experience. Being part is the feeling part. The human part seems to be the thought part. And you could say that is the relationship and you could see the connection. Being to being, she can feel what I'm doing. Being to being in any situation, they can feel what you're doing. So when you really look at, I don't believe somebody said, so you can be vulnerable in the past. No, you're vulnerable always now. It's never a time it's not now.
Yeah. Somebody said, do you just let the feelings be?
In some way, absolutely.
And
yes.
And you gotta let that person hold you in it.
Yep.
This is
like you
pain.
look for yourself. If you could step out of your body, that's what that is.
Yeah.
If you have to give it to you, so they can give it to you. And if you are in the mindset they've got to give it to me first, don't worry, you're still abandoning yourself. Nobody's going to stop you because you're in charge of your feelings and what you're doing to them. And then when they start treating your feelings like that too, don't get mad at them.
So in other words, just to clarify, you're giving it to yourself and you're being patient, right?
Yes.
If the twin flame is not vulnerable, doesn't open up, is terrified of opening up, how do you handle that?
Vulnerability, when you're terrified, is a very challenging thing to open up and say. Usually I'll come up to her and I say, can you hold my hand? Just, it doesn't matter where we are. And she's like, you okay? And then I'll pull her in if I'm not okay. Because sometimes you don't have the words. Those actions are those words. That is the telepathy of all of it. And it really is.
If the other person is not being vulnerable and not allowing, right, the connection to flow, right, that person has to address those fears and anxieties and traumas that are in them. They're never, ever going to be ready for this type of connection without that healing. The pain can be lessened. I was severely sexually abused from the ages of 10 until I was a teenager. It was brutal and violent at times, and the pain was very deep in me. And as I grew, I talk about my sexual abuse all day, every day now. The pain is not there any longer, right? I can talk about it and I use it to help others that have been in that. We do a sexual abuse root camp.
Yeah.
But
I noticed it's a big part of for many people on this journey, sexual abuse.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of pain there. So that now that I've put that into healing, and I don't like to use the word healed, right? Because it's just never all the way healed. I was sexually abused and it sucked. It was horrible.
Yeah, you've healed enough to let a man connect to that.
I've put it in healing, and I can now allow a human male to connect with that pain when I never would before, even in a 13-year marriage. And then I had a relationship with a soulmate, and it was wonderful. And then, another relationship that I ended up getting in trouble for. And he didn't get in trouble for anything, right? It was a lot of hurt. And without me going into that healing with it and addressing it, it's just addressing it. It's just addressing it and going through that, feeling the pain again, and I worked my way through it through him holding me and crying and things. Um, there's gotta be that there's gotta be that other part that holds you through it. And if that other part doesn't put those things in healing, right, the connection's always going to have like conflict, misunderstanding. The journey is going to be so much. We know how rocky it can be because we did the exact same thing. If it wasn't him, it was me. In the beginning, it was him. And then I had things that needed to go in healing. And then shit, there was more things that he needed to go in healing. And then, oh no, I got things that I need. There's more, right? There's still things that need to go in healing. I feel like we're down in the basement now.
Oh,
right?
Definitely in the
I
basement.
feel like we're down in the basement now where things come up and I'm like, oh, that felt icky. Why did it feel icky? Right. And then we'll work through it. But if that other person isn't responding with vulnerability, there's definitely something that needs to go into healing.
Man.
Absolutely, I agree. And we're going to get to the comments soon. What I have found that helps with that, when the other person isn't ready to open up and be vulnerable, is that I call it the higher self communication. Is hearing from, like, just like you mentioned, you can sense when something is going on with Lee and vice versa, right? I believe you mentioned that Lee hears, like, do you actually hear what's going on with Sherry? What I teach others is that stuff is real. You hear those things. But here's where it gets complicated. The ego steps in and says, that's not true. No, look at what they're doing. The ego lives in the physical, whereas you're hearing and sensing things inside that's going on with that person. And it's offering you some sort of understanding about where they are. Right? And so would you agree that that happens if that person isn't ready to open up? You can sense, you can have these intuitive messages that telepathic communication that helps you understand in some kind of way what's going on with them. Do you find that?
Not exactly. Well, we find that, but usually that's because of a few factors. If in their childhood they experienced disconnects in that way, it's a numb space. The thing about when you ascend from that is it's not going to be higher. It's going to be inner. We've never, you go to, when we've been doing this, we realized there was this higher lower thing, and that's just hierarchy relationship stuff. So when we started doing inner, we started realizing connection stuff. So you got to go the right direction first before you can come to where we're talking about. And that's the inner you, not the higher you or the lower you. That's just more ego. You don't need it. You really don't. In this connection, I'm allowed to feel everything with this woman. And I cannot tell you how freeing that is. I can say whatever's in my mind. My 6-year-old self can come out and say, and she'll tell you. She doesn't know who she's getting, but she's getting all of it. She can say that. Who can say that in this connection? Who's saying it in any connection? We are. We're saying there is something that human beings we're not talking about that exists in each one of us to have. And it's this connection.
Twin flame is the spark for this connection.
It is. Because even we've never heard another set even talk the way we're talking, but we're telling you it's life sustaining. It really is when you have that kind of a space where everything around you connects to you. Right. You don't realize how disconnected you are in the world until you get out of your mind. And your mind is why you have a higher self. The mind is counting on you to believe in a higher self because it's got a whole set of rules, new rules for you and everything you got to live by. Connection doesn't know what that is.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. And I'll share a little bit of my story, how amazing it was when God brought my person into my life. And I heard, Isheen, you don't need relationship rules. You don't need it, all that stuff society put out there. You got to be tough on them. You need to do all this kind of stuff. Just open up and he's there for you. And I was like, really? And that's what we were able to do for each other, is to hold space. It's like if that 6-year-old of him come out, I'm like, oh, okay. I see that it's whoever did that to you that's showing up right now. And I understand.
Powerful.
And if I get wild, he's like, okay. I'm like, I'm sorry about that. No, don't apologize. That's what he usually says. Because what you said is not true. It's true. What you said, even if it came out in anger. And so it's such a wonderful space to be in, to fully let yourself be seen, to let it out and know that person's holding space. There isn't anger on his end.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, I don't know, get angry. Not me. I don't care. Let it out. I want to hear it and not have it blow up later, or something happens that I didn't know I was doing something to you, something like that. So it's an amazing space to be connected with someone where you can really be yourself.
For sure. You know that game that we play like in camps, like the trust game where you're standing somewhere and you just have to fall and know that people are back there to catch you, right? You know what I'm talking about, where you're just supposed to fall back and your team members or whatever catch you. In this connection, it's like that. But there's no time when you're standing on the log or the wherever, that there's a thought of, oh God, are they going to be back there to catch me? Are they going to be back? Am I going to fall? Am I going to hurt myself? There's not even thought. You just get up there and you fall back because that's there.
It's there.
And you know it's there, right? You can jump off the bridge. Jump off. I mean, don't really jump off bridges.
Not literally.
Please don't do that. But you can make that leap. You can make that jump, right? You can come out of it. And it's honestly just a decision to be like, I don't want to do that anymore.
All right. So I really enjoyed the time here. We're going past an hour.
Wow.
Let's get to the question. So
Okay.
Natalie says, what about if you've been very vulnerable in the past with my twin and he ran away? He couldn't cope with my emotions.
How did you heal your vulnerability when that happened?
And what has happened to the other person that he's struggling with accepting that, right? And I don't feel that in any way, shape, or form is it he? I'm not sure. He is not accepting that. He's struggling with mind noise, telling him this is what's going to happen, and I don't want to have to do this, and I don't want to have to do that, and I don't want to mess with that, and it's all this, right? The connection doesn't care about that. And when that person figures it out, right? And whatever it takes to get that person to figure it out, and they could very well be doing that on their own. We've done that a million times. Like, why am I reacting like that? Well, I want to be with him. The main thing was the womanizing, right? And I didn't want to be with somebody that I was looking over my shoulder all the time or wondering what you're doing on the computer or on the phone or whatever, right? And so that it's a lot of mind noise. That stuff doesn't even fit in connection. It doesn't fit in there.
Yeah.
Jealousy, mistrust, all those things, it doesn't fit in connection. And what's happening is the other person has some things that needs to go into healing in order for them to be able to accept what the other person's going through.
Absolutely. And I
It's
agree
very
with that.
connected. It's very
Yes.
connected. What they're going through, it's very connected. And if they can come together in that connection and discuss it and talk about what the mind is saying, right? Well, my mind is saying I'm going to have to look over my shoulder every minute. My mind is saying I'm going to have to go through your phone. My mind is saying I don't want you messing with the computer. My mind is saying you're not going to the store by yourself. My mind is saying all that, right? And now it's not even close to that. I had those expectations.
Yeah.
And that fear made me run.
Yep. There you go. I can
Fear made
remember
me
for
run.
myself hearing you're focusing on the wrong things instead of focusing on connection.
The fear.
And I'm going to share a bit of my story with that. My twin was vulnerable around earlier days when we met, but I couldn't see it. And so it could be something where the person has never experienced that in their life. They're so used to looking at things from a trauma lens that it filters out all that stuff.
And then what happens is
they run because of themselves, not because you are being vulnerable, but because of that mind noise, like you said.
Or they'll come together in a trauma bond and bond over the trauma, right? Oh, we have this similar trauma, and they're bonding over that, and they're nurturing that, but they're not nurturing the connection.
Right.
And just curious, was your father in your life?
Yes.
And is he vulnerable with you?
No.
So you didn't have the space for it.
Exactly.
So you rejected his vulnerability in the beginning?
I sure did.
And how did you go back?
And I'm not going to say in the way beginning. Actually, yeah, it was there too. A whole lot of it. The people on my channel know that I ran from connection, and I didn't know that. I was the one that ran to the point where he no longer trusted me being around and had to work on healing that because it was extremely painful. And I couldn't see his pain at all.
No.
I only saw mine.
You
and
learned,
so for 2 years, I called myself a chaser because all I remember is I want this love. And I didn't see where I took off and felt like I was being too much, that I was a burden in his life. And I remember when I met with you, Lee, you asked me, did he say that to you? I'm like, no, he never said that. That was a burden, that I was too much. None of that. And that was one of the eye-opening experience. And God showed me a lot of things too. Some people are like, how do I get my twin flame to wake up? You might not be able to. I watch videos.
To do that.
Connection. Yep. That's how you can be with your twin. Connection. If there is no, you can't. There is connection. If you're not choosing it in this life, then you're going to go back to it anyway. So why not choose it while you're here? It just doesn't make sense. So we just need to realize that's how simple this could be. And it's hard. Believe me, it's really hard.
It is hard. Well, we got to address some people, their twin flame is not choosing this lifetime. Divine soulmate comes in. I don't know why it says preparing live stream. Oh my. And the connection continues there. And there's a lot of people that are like, well, I don't want that. I just want my twin. But it doesn't change. This is my awareness of it. It doesn't change anything. It's still how you're experiencing connection, and this person, it feels similar with that person. So have you heard about that happening?
It's very interesting how, and this is my opinion and my take on it, and I don't know, I might get hate mail, I don't know. I'm used to it, it's fine.
And I'll give you a connection of style here in a minute.
Yeah, he'll connect it.
I'll show you how that works.
I think we might have lost the stream for a moment.
Are we there?
It says live streaming. Still says it's streaming.
Okay. Perhaps it's still streaming. It's back on. I see it on now.
Are we still streaming?
Hey guys, yeah. Is anybody watching us at all? We're not.
Yes, please let us know, guys, if you still see us.
Yeah. And what were we talking about? Because I had something real cool to say.
You were talking about how the connection happens when the way that she.
Yeah. This is how.
Thanks, Desiree. She said we're still here.
Okay, good.
This is how we end up with people who are on their fourth and fifth twin flame. Okay, so Chris wasn't it, Brian wasn't it, Todd wasn't it, but we thought they were because we felt something, right? And now we're on our fourth or fifth, and then you're finding fault and you're finding things going on and you're realizing, oh, maybe this isn't my twin, or maybe it is, I don't know. Right? We're filing through relationships, hoping that there's a connection. What ends up happening is obsession comes in. This is what I want. I want him. I don't want anybody else. And I'm going to do everything it takes to get him and keep him. And he may not even be anywhere close to the person that you got connection with. But you're so obsessed about the human part, right? I mean, Lee's pretty freaking cute, right? So there was an obsession in the beginning, right? But there was also a lot of other stuff that I didn't want to be a part of. So as cute as he was, right? But there becomes an obsession with human beings. And now we have an obsession. Oh, I'm not obsessed, but you're checking their Facebooks, you're going through their Instagrams, you're driving by their house. You're doing all of these things, but you don't have an obsession. And you're so focused on this person when the one you're connected to is knocking at your door and you can't see it. You won't see it because your eyes and your mind is obsessed with this one. And we're paying attention to the wrong things. Again, we're paying attention to the wrong things. The sex is amazing. Everything is wonderful. Everything is great. I've never, ever, ever experienced anything like this before in my life, right? We'll get a client and it's beautiful. And then there's a but. He hits me sometimes. Someone you're connected to will not lay your hands on you, right? And then there are times when there's trauma that comes up and comes out, and things happen. I totally understand that, especially if you're in a trauma space. I get that, right? Violence is never, ever, ever a part of the connection. You're stepping out of the connection when things like that are happening. You're stepping out of alignment with yourself when you're allowing things like that to come into your life and stay into your life because you have an obsession with this person. And if we can release the obsession, the universe is awesome. God's amazing. He will put the person that you're connected to right in front of you. If you could only see it, but we don't want to. We don't want to. We don't want to go to the gym. So we don't. We don't want to find the one we're connected to because we want them. It happens all the time. All the time. I had a man in my life and I thought he was my big love. And as we went along, I was like, he's really great, but he's not, the connection's not there. Like he's awesome. He's gorgeous. Everything's wonderful. We don't fight. We don't argue. It's great. Well, what happened? Well, circumstances, right? He moved away, whatever. But should there have been a connection there? I'd have been with him, gone, right? I just didn't. I knew in my soul he wasn't my big love. I knew it. I knew it. As great as it was, I knew he wasn't my big love.
Got it. Got it. All right. So this question, I opened up my feelings, but it seemed like it frightened him. I believe it sounds like a repeat of what was before, and I believe you answered that already. And so you just see the feelings, feel it, and that's it. How does that work with changing your subconscious mind? I'm asking as I've done EMDR before. I've been in therapy for a long time.
Well, the mind is the most powerful thing, isn't it?
And I want to ask you, it's great to see a therapist, but who are you talking to that you feel a connection to? A lot of the things like what she was just talking about, all of it is tied into what you trust connection, what you trust about it. And usually when we find somebody who's had that many twin flames, usually my first question is, How many times did your mother remarry? Or your father? Or how many siblings did you have? Usually you find a connection point, and then you'll be able to find out why they're making those choices. We found a person who had 4 twin flames, and they thought this 5th person was. And I asked the question. I said, "So, did you had brothers and sisters?" Because they did our root camp, and our root camp gets into those roots, so you can see why the things are happening the way they're happening.
It really shows you why you act the way you do.
It heals.
I created it because I wanted to know why I acted and reacted the way I did. God gave it to me, and I was like in a dream, and I was like, "What? Come on now!" And then, yeah,
And then she put those questions inside of me. It showed me connection in ways I didn't even know I could see connection, but now I can see it as clear as day. So when somebody had that many, I said, how many brothers you got? 4. I said, were you close to your daddy? No, I was close to all my brothers though. But you never got to have that connection with your father? No, not like how I wanted it. Well, this 5th one will be the same way. It's a repeat of the same thing you were connected to. And it's hard to sit in because you're going to ask some real uncomfortable questions to get there.
Mm-hmm.
But once you're in that space and you start looking at it, you start responding differently, reacting differently. And guess what? Your pain now has connection. And you don't necessarily have the suffering. You keep feeling yourself being lifted. Connect me to me, the top tier thing we do, where you sit 50 hours through that, changes you. You don't even know you'll know what relationships are, but you don't invite yourself in them. You invite them to connect, and it changes everything about what you do. People that you thought were connected to, and then people you're connected to show up. That's connection. It's not this relationship thing that everybody's talking. Everything that they're doing to cram to put more in your mind is taking you away from the feeling. It's big business to keep you away from this feeling. We're over here sitting in the feeling going, and we're like, everybody needs this. Where'd everybody go? And there's
well, I'm glad you mentioned that. Yes, there is connection with other people in our lives who we're feeling connected with.
Yep.
Yes, so the connection shows up there. And Miss Amway said, amongst many things, one of the biggest things for me was the smoking that later turned to smoking lots of weed. My dad was an alcoholic who passed away due to drunk driving. So smoking.
The alcoholism, my father was also an alcoholic who died of cirrhosis of the liver. I ended up with liver disease. So it was clearly hereditary. We're missing an enzyme, and his alcoholism took over. And
that question
Lee
makes me know how fortunate I am to have you. You have no idea.
Lee was a smoker. When we met, I had always had this thing in me. For some reason, cigarette smoke just turned me off. Like the smell of it, the look of it, it just did something to me inside. And I struggled even as a teenager. Like I've struggled not to be judgmental my whole life because I was raised with a judgmental mother. So I've struggled to not judge people, but I'm watching people smoke and I'm like, why are you doing that to yourself, right? Never gonna date a smoker. Not ever, 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 ever will I date a smoker. Screw that. I can't handle it. Lee comes along, we met, I had no idea in the beginning that he was a smoker. No idea, like the first maybe 5 or 6 times that we were together, I had no idea. His breath was amazing. I mean, I had no idea. He always smelled good.
I wasn't a chain smoker.
So, when I found out that he was a smoker, yeah, I felt disappointment. Like, oh, what? Well, no, I like him, right? And back then, I wasn't using marijuana. I'm an avid marijuana user only because it got me through hospice care without any, and yeah. So, but how I dealt with that was simple. The connection handled it for me. He doesn't smoke anymore, right? He hasn't smoked in years. I didn't have to do anything. The connection handled it. And there were times when he picked it back up when we were in stressful situations, but he doesn't even do that now. When I had liver disease, did you?
No,
No.
see, the thing about this connection, if you're sharing feeling like that,
Hmm.
it was like almost like she shared the feeling with me of not smoking. And I
Hmm.
was able to just go, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. You don't realize how much power is there.
Hmm.
And we're telling you, it's more profound than you can think because your thoughts are not what this connection is
Yep.
about.
The connection handled it.
Yeah.
And the connection will handle all those little minor annoyances and things.
When you surrender to it.
The mind will tell you, but he's this or they're that and they're this and they're that, right? Um, but the connection overrides that every time. So he was a smoker. I vowed to myself never to be with a smoker. Well, God had other plans. So my plans don't necessarily have to be what the universe has for me. That's something, I'm a Gemini. That's something that took me a long time to accept, that I'm not in control because I have to like control a lot of things. I'm not in control of this connection. I'm not.
And the other side of that is I'm a Libra, so I balance her twins out.
Yeah.
So,
I think they're
twins and
quadruplets, but anyway.
balance of twins.
All
We
right.
balance
Thank
here.
you for that.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right. And the last one, people don't go looking for twin flames. Most people don't even know what a twin flame is when it happens.
I hope so. I hope that's a true statement. I really do. I really hope that's true because that innocence there, that what the hell is this? That that's the spark I'm talking about. What, like, oh,
Yeah.
click,
Yeah.
right? What is this? Oh, I wish nobody in the world knew the words twin flame. I wish nobody knew the words. It's what is this? Skip twin flames and
More
go
titles.
on to connection. Skip it.
Write
Skip
me
it.
title.
And
Skip it. Skip all the junk.
the yin and yang of that was the yin. This is the yang. The
Mhm.
yang of is thank God we found twin flames
That's that too.
because
Yep.
we wouldn't have been able to describe connection the way we do without it.
Hmm.
We just didn't believe all the stuff that was saying. We let the connection teach us.
And that's
Nobody realizes
what we
who's
do.
done that. We're letting it.
Let's get you past the
It's-
twin flame crap.
Yeah.
And get you to connection.
Out of here.
Because it's a spark. You can stay in the firework all you want, right? And stay in that little bubble love phase that everybody talks about as long as you want, right? But I promise you, if you can skip the twin flamey and you can go to connection, all the bubble love is even better there.
Yes.
And it doesn't go away.
No.
It stays. It doesn't go away. I look at him every day. Every single day. I'm like, oh, okay. Right? All right. I see what he's got going on there, right? Every single day I notice something about him every day. I make sure that I do. I be careful what you wish for because you just might get it. You just might get it. Be ready. Be ready. Have yourself together. Have yourself together.
Open. Have yourself
Open and vulnerable.
Yes.
Open.
We get it. We know
vulnerable.
that's hard. But as long as you keep rejecting your vulnerability, so will they.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's the key until you realize that's all you're doing. And if you don't know how to heal that, we're right here.
When it happened, I was like, well, what is this? Why can't I get rid of this guy? Like, I don't want him in my life. I don't want him in my life. How do I get rid of him? And there was something in me that's like, you don't want to get rid of him. He's your big love. And I'm like, right? And it was a lot. It was a lot of back and forth. But you know what? I am so grateful that I was vulnerable and open enough that I allowed the connection. Because there were times when I was like, that connection.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
I certainly can relate. And anyone who's going to watch the replay, because we're going to end this soon, share below where you felt like, can this person go away? And overcome that. I went through all of that, telling the universe, you chose him, I didn't choose him, and all
uh-huh,
this kind of stuff. I know exactly how that feels. And so one of the things that I do in sessions with clients is we eliminate all the outside noise.
uh-huh.
This is session one. They'll tell me the psychic said this, YouTube said this, and I'm like, okay, what do you hear inside of you?
That's right.
And let's connect with that and let's build from that and not what the internet is saying. And
Well,
obviously,
yeah.
my channel is for Twin Flames. It has Twin Flames written on it.
Mhm,
And I do things differently where
mhm.
I focus more on connection with the self.
Good.
Then there is connection with the person as well, but not the fluffy thing that's going to leave people feeling stuck,
And we
but
use
what's
the word,
real.
we use the
And
term twin flames often. We do because it's like it's there, right? I wish it wasn't, but it is. And and she's right when most people don't know what it is. It's the problem is when they do go to do the research, where they end up.
Man.
And that's what's scary to us is where they end up, right? We at this point in time, we can end up in a cult, right?
yeah,
And or we can end up in an abusive place, right? Because there's so much false information out there, so much that'll get you
And
in
it should be,
into a lane that you don't want to be in.
and it should be something everybody can see.
Yeah.
We don't hide behind any walls. We're here doing what we do
All of our
and
junk's on
living.
YouTube, all of our junk, and there's
Yeah,
junk.
yeah. And you know what's beautiful about it is our vulnerability
Mhm.
disabled our no judgment. So we don't have
Mhm.
judgment for it anymore. Anybody else can have judgment for it, but we can't feel that anymore because we don't associate those judgments with feeling. Judgment doesn't know what feeling is.
I mean, I'll leave you
absolutely.
with this. I'll leave you with this. This connection is so powerful, guys. I'm sitting here today because of this connection. Because of this connection. I was sick. I was literally out of my mind with ammonia in my brain, dying in hospice care. And the only thing that I could feel other than pain was my connection. And I knew it. And when I didn't have the strength to fight, he was fighting for me. And it was so powerful and so beautiful when the chaplain was telling him it's going to be soon, right? She's not going to make it through the weekend, and he fought him, not physically, but I don't care what you say. She's not going anywhere. The chaplain was telling him, you're going to have to let go of this. Oh, and he was like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. And he fought for me. He fought for me. Without that, I wouldn't be here.
Absolutely. Very
And that's
powerful.
that the connection can be that powerful, but you've got to allow it and you've got to let it be and you've got to let it be in charge. That's the
Yes.
hardest part for me because I'm a control freak. But I have to let the connection be in charge, or I would have been gone.
As a man, I'd never seen anyone save a life other than my childhood hero, Superman. And I knew somehow, some way, that whatever energy I felt from that character or whatever that feeling was brought back a love in the inside of me that was there when I was really, really young. And I was like, I got to share this with her somehow. There were nights when I could feel her trying to slip away at night. And I'd wake up. It was like an instantaneous awake and just hold her. And I'd whisper in her ear and I'd talk to her. And in the morning, she would be there. You don't realize how powerful connection is.
Mhm.
It's you don't have to give up because somebody tells you to. You don't even know what that is. So we get it, you guys. We just want all of you to have this. And We are so honored to be here today on your channel. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And I'm truly honored to have you here as well.
And I see your comment. I see your comment, Lethakuthia. I know I butchered that, but I relate to that. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And once again, the links are below. Vote for Lee and Sherry today. Okay.
Please
Make sure you
do.
get your vote in. Refer to other people too. Get more votes in. All right. We're rooting for you guys.
Yeah,
And there's a link to their 30-minute sessions. There's also a link if you want to go further with myself as well. All that is below. And I believe I did put a link to your channel too. Very
awesome.
powerful messages. Okay. Let's get more connection out there.
Let's do it.
Because that's what's really happening in this connection. All right. Thank you. Thanks for coming today.